Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Britain F1. If you are new here and you do like the look of this channel, then please hit the subscribe button down below, and if you do like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. So as we have approached halfway through the season, I really wanted to reflect on a few of the drivers, and those drivers I wanted to focus on are the young drivers in particular. So I've mainly focused on the drivers from the age of 20 to 25, and I believe this is kind of the youngest grid we have ever had within F1, which is really encouraging for the future. So I really wanted to look at their qualifying and their races and look at who is performing the best, really. Now there are 9 drivers on the grid who are between the ages of 20 to 25, and I am going to rank them in the order I believe who are performing best, and I don't want to say worst because I don't want to criticise how their season has been, but I am going to go from 9 to 1 and just say what I have been impressed with and what I think they could probably do to improve for the future. So at number 9 I have put Nicholas Latifi. Now I felt really bad putting him in 9th because, like I said before, I don't want to sit here and criticise them because, to be honest, they're all doing a really good job, and Nicholas Latifi for me has made a massive improvement this season. To be fair, he's been one of the drivers who have kind of impressed me the most on how much they have improved this year. He has really been challenging his teammate George Russell and really sticking with him. He's had 2 really good performances, finishing 11th, which has been his highest position finish within Formula 1, and that was at the opening race in Austria and also at Monza. Now the only thing he kind of needs to work on is his qualifying. The highest he has qualified this season is 15th, but like I said before, he just doesn't really have that car behind him to really push any further. But for me, Nicholas Latifi has made a massive improvement this season, and I think things can only get better for him, so it's great to see, and I think he is going to carry on challenging George Russell, which we all want to see. Now in at number 8, I hate putting him here, but I'm really sorry, it's George Russell. George for me has made a massive improvement this season. He's been getting into Q2, which is crazy considering how bad that car is, and like I said about Nicholas, it's kind of a reflection on the car, it's not really a reflection on how they are driving, and I think him showing that he can get the car into Q2 is a vast improvement what we have seen within previous seasons. So we can tell the car is starting to come together, but when it comes down to the race, progression he's done during qualifying just gets thrown out the window, and that's the biggest shame. Now, similar to Nicholas Latifi, George has finished 11th, which is also his highest finishing position within Formula 1, but unfortunately he has also had 2 DNFs compared to his teammate who has only had the 1. But the reason why I put George higher than Nicholas is because he has been getting it into Q2 and has been having a much stronger season when it comes down to qualifying. But also, as I said, similar to Nicholas, we can see a massive improvement in the car, so hopefully that continues to come for the end of the season and going into next season, because we just want to see them drivers back up fighting midfield. Now in at number 7 is Esteban Ocon for the Renault team. Now Esteban for me has been kind of a disappointment this season. I thought he would really challenge Daniel Ricciardo, but he kind of hasn't, and it's been a bit of a letdown. So Esteban has actually had really good qualifying sessions. Most weeks he manages to get it into the top 10 shootout, which is great to see. But when it comes down to the race, it hasn't been as good. He's had 2 DNFs and also finished twice outside the points. So that's why I've put him a bit further down than others. And as I said previously, he just hasn't been able to compete with Daniel Ricciardo. For me, Daniel Ricciardo, his teammate, has been performing a lot better than him. So I don't really know if you could say it is because Esteban has obviously had a year out, so he could be getting to grips with the team again, getting to grips with the car. But yeah, he just hasn't lived up to the expectations really. But hopefully he can improve for the rest of the season, and also going into next season. I think he might have a bit of another challenge on his hand when he comes up against the likes of Fernando Alonso, but hopefully he can learn a lot from him. I think also Esteban is still so young, so he still has a lot to learn. Now, trying to work out on the next half where to put everyone was really difficult, because all the guys I'm going to mention now are so close. They all have kind of similar results and they've all been performing so well, so it was really hard to choose where to put everyone. But in at number 6 I have put Charles Leclerc. Now, Charles for me has been one of the star performers this season, purely based on the fact of how well he is driving that Ferrari. He's really driving the socks off of it, like it's crazy. Compared to his teammate, who is a 4-time world champion, Charles Leclerc is outperforming him every week basically. He's having pretty good qualifying sessions, well, from the first half of the season. The last few races the qualifying hasn't been that great, but he did start off the season really strong. Charles got 2 podiums which were totally unexpected, and at the beginning of the season he was always there or thereabout, which was crazy considering how bad that Ferrari is. But the reason why I have put him at number 6 is because he has had 3 DNFs. And you know, a Ferrari should not be having 3 DNFs, and I know that is not Charles's fault in any way, shape or form, but when I had to compare him to other drivers, it just only seemed right to put him in at number 6. But as I said before, I'm not criticising him in any way, shape or form. For me, he is driving really, really well. It's only been the last few races where it's kind of slipped away. He's kind of been struggling, but I know that isn't mainly his fault, it is the car, so I can't really fault him massively because he did have a really good strong start to the season. But you know, it is down to Ferrari at the end of the day. They have to give him that car to get him back up the top fighting. Now, in at number 5 we have Alex Albon, and I really found it difficult where to place Alex. As I said before, it's really, really close when I broke down the figures, looked at the qualifying results, looked at race results, because they are all so close. But for me, when I look further into it and compare him to his teammate, and I know it is difficult to compare him to Max Verstappen, it just wasn't where it should be, and especially with that Red Bull and how it is competing with the Mercedes, it should have better results. So that's why I have put him at number 5. He doesn't have any DNFs, which is quite good because most of the people in this list have at least 1 DNF. The reason why he is number 5 is purely because he should have better results. He should be finishing 3rd or 4th, but he's finishing 6th, 7th, 8th, and for me that's not where he should be this season. He should be a lot higher up. And also his qualifying hasn't been a strong point this season, so I think going into next season he needs to work on his 1 lap pace, get qualifying sorted, and then he should be able to have a stronger season and compete with his teammate. He has had a few good results, but it needs to be higher considering where Max is putting that Red Bull, so that is the reason why I have put him a bit lower. So at number 4 I have put Pierre Gasly. Now, Pierre Gasly is having one of the best seasons on that grid out of everyone. He is performing really, really well. But when I broke down the figures, looked at the race results, looked at qualifying results, there were other people who have had better results than him, so that's why he is at number 4. But he is doing so well considering he is in an AlphaTauri. He's outperforming his teammate week on week pretty much. He has had 2 DNFs, but as we all know, that isn't his fault. It's another reflection on the car. But he is performing really well in that car. And again, like I said, like the Williams and Ferrari, they need to give people like Pierre, like Charles Leclerc, that car behind them so they can keep pushing. But I think we are just seeing how good these drivers are, because for me they are outperforming their car. And this is why I wanted to make this video, because I wanted to highlight the fact that we have so much young talent on the grid who are outperforming their cars, outperforming their teammates week on week, which is great to see, and that is what Pierre is doing. And for me, he has been performing better than Alex Albon, who again is in that Red Bull. So that is why I have put him higher than Alex. And also Pierre's racecraft at the moment is a lot stronger than Alex's. He has some brilliant overtaking skills. He's just performing really well when it comes down to a Sunday, and that's when you need it most, and he's really doing that. So he's having a strong season, and hopefully he can carry that through into next season, which I'm sure he will. So in at number 3 we have Lance Stroll. Now Lance Stroll, for me, like Pierre, is one of the standout performers this season, and probably the biggest surprise this season. For me, he's outperforming his teammate, who is more experienced, has been on the grid for ages, Sergio Perez, and he's really, I feel, finding his feet finally in Formula 1. He's having some great qualifying sessions, he's getting the race results he needs on a Sunday, like I said before, when you need it most. And I think he's really shown Formula 1 fans, even Formula 1, why he deserves that seat next season, because, you know, he was getting a lot of stick of why he shouldn't be in F1. He shouldn't be in F1 because he's just rich and his dad owns the team. But I think he's really proving everyone wrong, and he's even proved me wrong, because I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them people who were like, I'm not sure if he should be in here because, you know, he's rich, he's just here because his dad owns the company. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. But he's proved me wrong, and I fully take back everything I said, because he's having a great season. And I really hope that continues with Sebastian as his teammate next year. I think that pairing is actually going to be quite strong. I think Lance can learn a lot from Sebastian, which is good to see, and I hope that continues into next season, which I'm sure it will. But it's really great to see that he's proved everyone wrong this season. That's why I've put him in 3rd, and I've put him higher than Pierre Gasly just because he's had better race results than Pierre Gasly, so that's why I've put him in 3rd. So in at number 2 we have Lando Norris, who is the youngest driver on the grid at just aged 20, and for me he is having a really strong season. If you haven't seen my previous video, I did a video about Lando Norris and McLaren being the surprise performers this season, so I will link that below and you can check that out if you wanted to. Lando is having a great season. He's having brilliant qualifying sessions, and for me that was something he really needed to work on coming into this season, and he has. Up until Mugello, he was only one of 4 drivers to get into Q3 every weekend, so brilliant qualifying. And he's also having really good Sundays. He's putting the car where he needs it when it matters the most. He's just having a great season, which is great to see. I feel like he's gained a lot more confidence. He's got stronger at overtaking, and for me he has been really challenging his teammate, the teammate who's more experienced, Carlos Sainz, and he's really finding his feet, which is great, and I think he is only going to get stronger from this. So Lando for me is having a brilliant season. So in at number 1 for the best performing young driver of the F1 2020 season is Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen is amazing. I just don't know where he comes from basically. He's crazy. Just age 22, he's the same age as me, and he's really challenging the likes of Lewis Hamilton, which is amazing to see, especially in that Red Bull, because that Red Bull is nowhere near as good as the Mercedes, but he somehow manages to be up there majority of the weekends, which is outstanding. You know, if Red Bull can really develop a car that can challenge the Mercedes a lot more closer, only great things are going to come from him, and everyone knows he's going to be a future world champion. Again, he's still so young and has still so much to learn. So he's been on the podium 6 out of the 9 races, which is an amazing stat, and he's just really being best of the rest really. He's really challenging the Mercedes, like I said before, and just performing really, really well. It really does come down to Red Bull really delivering him that car that can challenge for a world championship. At the moment, he just doesn't have that. Mercedes are miles ahead of everyone, but for me, he is just driving the socks off of that car, you know, to keep putting it in the 1, 2, 3 position week on, week out is crazy, and he's just outperforming the car massively, and you can really see that compared to his teammate Alex Albon. And he's just, again, he's in another league of his own. He's very similar to Lewis Hamilton. They just have that drivability. They know exactly what to do. They just have a feel for the car, and that's very hard to come by. So yeah, can't fault Max really, even though he has had 3 DNFs, but you know, whacks it on the podium pretty much most weekends. So amazing season from him, and to be right behind Lewis at one point in the championship was crazy. So I'm going to leave that video there. Let me know if you agree with how I've ranked the drivers. You might have put them in different orders, but that's personally where I think they should be, looking at their qualifying, their race results, and how they're performing as drivers this season. Let me know if you want me to do a video on the rest of the drivers, and I can compare them ones as well. But until then, I will all see you in my next video.